What's up? Pick6 Central, May 8th, Thursday, May 8th, day of game 2.
Wednesday.
What did I say? Day ahead.
Jumping ahead.
I am ahead. It's a Wednesday. Wednesday, May 8th, day of game 2.
Okay.
Still game 2. Knicks tonight, big one. Myself and Big Ev here. Clemmer traveling to South Dakota? South Dakota for the
back in
the Dakotas.
again.
Back
It's
in
a
the
Dakota
Dakotas.
machine.
Guys just cranking out the Dakotas. Making him his bitch if he goes 2-0. So we'll see. Last night, some NBA action. I actually think the hockey action was captivating as well.
Sure.
Celtics 120, Cavs 95. Probably as expected.
Yeah,
Celtics looked great. Blitzed them in the fourth quarter. Took care of business. Kind of a very, very boring series, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they just listen. I think they could just kind of put this on like cruise control and win 4-0, 4-1. I mean, I think the Cavs have to basically shoot lights out to get a game. I mean, like the Celtics didn't even play like great last night. You said they kind of just blitzed them in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Totally took over. Started like the second they start hitting threes, it's a wrap. I mean, Derek White is playing out of his fucking mind.
Yeah.
He is. If he
25 last night. He was unbelievable.
If he keeps playing like shooting like this, like he did in the Heat series and like he did last night, no one's gonna beat them.
Ben him.
No, if he plays like that, no one's gonna beat them.
He's one of my favorite players, and also just like everyone's trying to shut down just Tatum, and he draws so much attention, and they're not like paying attention to exactly like people like Derek White who just are making their shots, and Celtics look, I think, unstoppable.
Jaylen Brown was great last night too.
Yeah, like Tatum didn't even really go. Tatum didn't really like go off by Tatum means, and it's not
I feel like he hasn't really in any of the games. Like you said,
because he's making the right reads though.
He hasn't needed to at all. Yeah. There hasn't been and the way, like you said, the way Derek White's shooting, it just, I mean, they're ridiculous. Like you said, Porzingis isn't even there. Don't even.
Oh yeah, we'll touch on that. So Jaylen Brown goes for 32, but yeah, Porzingis, like what? Dave tweeted out he shouldn't come back till game 1 of the finals, the NBA finals. I think he was, that's tongue in cheek, but like. What worry is it if he doesn't come back?
I told you, there's no team in the East without Porzingis that we can't beat. It's just he takes us to like championship elite level. Like when we're talking about like, we'll look back at this team and be like, holy shit, how did they lose? Like it's because of Porzingis is the X factor to take you really like to like one of the greatest Celtics teams of all time. That's how I view this team. Like I think when it's all said and done, we'll look back and be like, wow. Like we'll look back at like how we look at the 2018. We'll kind of look back at this team and be like, wow.
Yeah, I mean they had 64 wins in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean they were.
08 had like 65, 66.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they had like 1 or 2 more wins, and like Porzingis has been out. And I know their record without Porzingis is phenomenal, but again,
yeah, that's the thing. They're 21-4. That and obviously they were a team that obviously they made some changes like Drew Holiday and Marcus Smart and all that. But I mean, this is a team that 2 years ago was in the finals without him. They were in the conference finals and really choked. Like they were. The team was elite before he got there. Right. With him, they're like you said. If they shoot like this and Porzingis, he shouldn't play till at least the Eastern Conference Finals earliest. There's no reason to play him in this series.
No, I agree with that. I think
reason.
you can take care of business.
Especially they have Jared Allen out. Like they're really like they don't have a chance regardless. Without Allen, they have like 0.0% chance.
Yeah,
none.
No, I think it's going to be quick work. It's a shame because you like when it's the back and forth each night of like Knicks war. It'd be nice if there was a Celtics war going on. You know what I mean?
We're gonna have to bring it to him, Bosco.
I know. It's just
we're gonna have to try to bring him on.
Kind of a dead. Like I do not get up for these games. It's not my team, but even as a viewer, do you get up for these games?
I just lay it with the Celtics.
I know.
No, it's my team, and I don't even get up for the game.
Yeah,
it's
that's you being a Boston elitist, but
I'm not like
it's true.
They're so spoiled.
No, but like even like last year, it's like it felt like a little bit more locked in. Now it's like I have never been more like all right, kind of like let's just get through this game.
Right.
Like I just want to get through. I want to watch my nightly programs. Like I want to watch something else. It's insane. And like the Knicks series, I think will interest me. And like either way that one goes. I think the Knicks will even if the Celtics were to sweep the Knicks, I think every game would be like pretty good.
Yeah, it's frustrating as a viewer that like we don't have 2 good series.
I agree.
I You're saying like in this entire round?
No. Just in the East.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
I think if you're going to get to the Final Four of each conference, they should be fairly competitive series.
Well, really what it should have been. It should have been like we should have saw like a Sixers here. Yeah, that's where we basically had 2 top 4 teams play. We actually had the 2 and the 4, in my opinion, play in the first round. But I mean, they're just. I mean, the Cavs are just so like they're just levels. It's just totally different levels.
Yeah, they're playing.
I really think I'm gonna just lay the points with the Celtics every game.
Every game.
Like they just. I mean. They played good. Like I wouldn't say they played like bad or anything, but like it didn't take them like a great performance to beat them by 20. Just lay it. I mean, I'm just gonna lay it. They were 4-1 against the spread in the first series. I'm gonna just lay it with the Celtics hopefully till the Knicks play them.
Yeah, I mean I don't hate the strategy. I think you get maybe a little bit of a discount with them on the road, but I still think it could be like.
No, trust me. There'll be a time like I'm saying this, and then all of a sudden Game 3, I'll be looking at it and I'll be having my my contrarian thoughts will start popping in, but I mean this lay it with the Celtics, just lay it.
Yeah, no, they're unbelievable. Yeah, I mean it's the odds tell you everything. What are they? Plus 160, 170, or whatever they were, 140 to win the title.
Yeah, before
like
145 before the
was
playoffs
moving.
started.
It was moving that way.
They're plus 100 now.
Jeez,
to win it all.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they're going to be massive favorites over whoever comes out of our series in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Can we just give? I don't think Brad Stevens gets his flowers enough.
Well, he should be coaching.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I could see him after the Celtics run going back to coaching, but it was like the self-awareness to be like, I'm not getting through to this talent anymore. Let me take a step back and putting together still a championship roster from his perspective. The Derek White trade is like we talk about like best deals. And
Who'd you guys give up?
But, who did we give up to the Spurs? I want to
give it a look. What's the
pull it up?
I was gonna say honestly, as much as I
mean, Brad has always been able to evaluate talent.
I think I want to say his picks.
As much as I'll hate,
I want to say it was like so you got Sochin for it.
Or if I would say the only positive spin zone of the Celtics winning a finals. Well, I will finally tell you, shut the fuck up about Brad Stevens needing to be the coach. Because if they win, I'll be like, all right, they couldn't win with him. I'm won without him.
I'm gonna keep beating that until I can't. I can't anymore. I mean, I think he's an unbelievable coach, but like, take the bias aside and the shtick out of it. He's an unbelievable executive.
I wonder if
he's always been able to evaluate talent. You look at what he did with Butler. Like he had Gordon Hayward was a fucking pro.
Crazy, Gordon Hayward still put in some decent minutes.
He's a good pro. He's had a good career.
He's one of those guys you almost like forget. Like even though I have watched like a decent amount of like Thunder games this year,
Romeo Langford,
you almost kind of just like forget.
Josh Richardson,
I'm like,
2 first-rounders. Or a first-round swap. I'm sorry. First-round pick and a first-round swap.
But, like, we talk about the Brunson trade being, like, one of the best deals ever, which I agree with.
It was a signing, no trade.
Right. I think one of the best deals ever is going to be, like, the Derek White one.
Yeah, but you always look at it this way, too. Who did the Spurs get with that pick?
Does not matter.
It doesn't matter. Agreed.
I think they got, like, Jeremy Sochin.
It's even better if it's somebody like that. Yeah, I mean, Sochin's good, but he's not.
He's not
a solid player, but yeah.
Derek White has taken off.
And I basically too like Langford. Is he even like on the team anymore? He's on the Spurs. Right?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm always gonna have the shtick if I think he should be coaching just because I love him and the stuff he was doing. He was a robot. When they hit the buzzer beater against Gonzaga and he just walks across and shakes the guy's hand like he's a robot. Like the shit about him, when he took his wife to a first date to a high school game, like the guy just loves ball, bro. He just loves ball.
I've heard you say that maybe 1,000 times.
He just loves ball. He's a maniac. So I want him to coach, and selfishly I want him to coach in college.
I think he will.
Yeah,
I think he'd go back to college.
I don't know, man.
Especially if he ended up winning.
He wins a title.
So I think,
this early as an executive. How many years has he been an executive now?
I think that even like when the Kentucky job opened up, he was thinking about taking the Kentucky. He wouldn't leave this team right now in the middle, like before winning a championship. He's still hunting an NBA championship. Once he fulfills that, I could see him potentially going back into coaching, whether that's in the NBA
he's got such
or
a
at the college
life
level.
now, though. You think he's gonna go back on the road recruiting?
I don't. Some people miss the itch. Some people are wired differently. I wouldn't.
Know, man.
I just think when you fulfill something, you need to fulfill something that you want.
He said he was only going to leave Butler for one job. I thought it was Indiana, but it must have been this. Obviously, like this.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just speaking. Like once you fulfill this, what's next?
I mean, you just become an NBA legend. Like you're just around.
Or what Bosco
forever.
said. Say maybe. I mean, Woodson's been like sort of on the hot seat-ish. They brought in some good recruits. I know they lost McNeely, but they still have like a solid class. If things go south this year, maybe the Celtics win a title, job opens up. That's
where you'll see
into
it.
Indiana.
He had a shot at Indiana once before, I feel like.
But post winning a NBA
so
championship, a little different.
Yeah.
Like you kind of, like you said, kind of go back and finish what you started in college.
Unless he just wants to become like a Jerry West. And he's like, we're just going to build up different franchises.
Right.
Like, now I'm going to go help, like, the Lakers. Or, like, I want to do that. But, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I could see that being another option. But
Pacers.
I just think once you fulfill something in the NBA, like winning a championship isn't exactly – everyone has a next move, especially at his age.
Well, didn't Kerr went from, like – I mean, he didn't coach before, but he went executive to coach.
Yeah, he was executive for the Spurs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was like a good executive. So I could see maybe he goes and coaches in the NBA again. I don't think that'd be, like, totally out of the question.
I just don't think he wins a title. I don't see how the Celtics like let him leave.
Well, I mean, but teams could be offering him just like discussing about some money, and it's what Duke said. Like if you just want to coach, like
for as storied as the Celtics were as a franchise, they went from like 80. What was their last title? 87 before 08.
Yeah, I was gonna think 86.
So like that's a long time. They're gonna go like my lifetime with only right now they have one. I think they're gonna get another this year, but. That's a long time, like 35 years. You got the 2 titles. I think he becomes a Celtics like legend.
But I think he could leave and he still would be considered one.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also been on the train. Like Brad Stevens, like would get like, he got a lot of shit. I think from the coach. Like I love Brad Stevens as a coach, but he got a lot of shit for like taking bad teams far, and then once he got a good team, still going far, but not like I always thought he got kind of a bad rep because he was such like he brought Isaiah Thomas to the conference finals,
right?
Jay Crowder, Avery Bradley.
I mean, the guy can coach and the guy can evaluate talent.
Yeah,
he brought a fucking Butler to back-to-back titles, and he should have won one of them.
Matt Howard should be an NBA All-Star right now.
You could argue Butler shot so bad in that second final against UConn.
Yes,
you could argue they probably should have won too.
Shelvin Mack was in the NBA.
They probably should have won too.
Shelvin Mack's a solid player. Shelvin Mack was in the NBA for like a decent.
What did they shoot that night? 27%.
Score was 56 to like
they
48.
shot like 27% from the field or something ridiculous. That's a fluke.
Could evaluated better shooters.
They should have. It was an ugly gym.
Well, yeah, they had to get like 3 stars from Indiana.
Yeah.
They just knew how to get nitty and gritty.
Yeah, but no, he can coach. I mean,
Bosco, look at this right. It was 53 to 41.
Yeah, it was gross.
53, 40.
What did they shoot? They shot 29% or something ridiculous. 18%.
18.8% from the field.
That just doesn't happen, and they only turned the ball over 6 times.
To score 41 points with only 6 turnovers.
Oh my god! I mean, you also got it. You can't get crazy. Like you got shot fucking 34% and 9 from 3. 9 from 3.
I mean, the fact that
I remember where I was watching that game. It was one of the worst championship games I've ever watched.
Big East.
Yeah.
The fact that there was 50.
Oh, they were AAC that year.
No, I know. I'm fucking around. I'm saying now it's Big East.
Yeah.
Just the fact there were 53 rebounds to grab.
Yeah.
Just that many misses.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. It's unbelievable. That's like my we were bad in college one year, and a buddy of mine, he was an unbelievable player. He had 30 tackles in a game. And like my dad calls, he didn't make the game. I call, and he's like, "How was the game?" I was like, "It was crazy." I was like, Moose went nuts. He had 30 tackles. My father goes, of course he did. He was on the field for 92 plays. He's like, you guys can't stop anybody. I was like, yeah, I mean, so it is what it is. Of course they had 53 rebounds. They missed. They shot 18% from the field.
That's what's always bad when like your safety has like 150. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, they were getting 8 yards a clip. All
yeah, a
night.
guy like that shouldn't have.
He was cleaning up the mess.
Guy like that shouldn't have 8 tackles. No, he was a linebacker, but it was the defensive line did not have a lot of tackles that day. But yeah, it's I don't know. The story will be told on what Brad does, but this series has absolutely zero interest in me.
No, yeah, I mean,
it just doesn't get the
least by far of the 4.
The one that does, Oklahoma City, beats up on Dallas. 117-95. SGA with 29, Chet with 19. Luka struggles from the field. Kyrie has 20, but Luka really 6 of 19, 1 from 8 from 3, 19 points.
Yeah, he started off on fire. Like the first 6 minutes, something's wrong with. I think he fucked up his ankle.
Yeah.
Well, not think like it. It did in the first half. He was showing like clearly he was like struggling with it, but then he kind of was like he was okay. Then the second half it felt like just almost non-existent, like just wasn't there. Because it was super close the whole the most of the first half. Thunder obviously going a little run, like kind of the very last maybe 4 minutes of the half. And then, I mean, they just dominate the second half. Totally blew them out. He said Shea was great in the first half. Jalen Williams was really good in the second half. It's crazy that kind of coming into this year, or coming into the playoffs, that it seemed like the Thunder and the Minnesota were kind of the two like surprise teams in terms of being being 1 and 3 seeds, and being the two teams they might be
it's nice story.
Might be like too young. They might be a year away. And obviously it was one game last night. The Mavs are like very much alive, so I'm not like counting them out by any means. I'm just saying the kind of storyline that the two teams that I think a lot of people thought were like too young, not there, are potentially going to just a crash course to be meeting the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
one of them going to the finals.
So what does that say about the culture of like how quickly you can get good in the NBA if you get the right guy?
Well,
and then pieces around you, but also just the culture of like they're not afraid. These teams are not afraid of anybody.
No. And the Thunder did it like the right way in this. Like Shea, like he's young, but like he's been a star player for like a few years now. Like it's not like he's like kind of like just coming on the scene.
What are you showing us?
This is
5 first-round picks for Paul George.
Yeah, that was the trade for
they got SGA, Gallinari. They were 5 first-round
all these picks. Yeah, unbelievable. That's like when you want to talk like great trades. Like that's a better trade than Derek White trade
for sure.
Yeah,
you got a much better player, a much younger.
They still have a ton of picks, right?
That's why they're the team that I think they're going to go after. Like they have some money to spend. They're going to definitely trade for somebody. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think they're in a clear, especially if they don't get it done. Like say hypothetically they win this series or they end up like losing to Minnesota. Or say like anything is like, I mean regardless. Say they fucked around and won the finals. They still are going to have like money, assets to make the team better.
And they got a great fan base down there.
Yeah,
I said it.
Paul George is definitely in play, I think, for them. KD would be like a trade partner.
They can bring Paul George back.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was talking to Clem about it the other day because if they had like needed one thing, I would say they definitely could use like another big guy. I think they're gonna throw a bag at Hartenstein.
Yeah,
because Hartenstein's a free agent. He made himself a ton of money this year.
Yeah.
And we signed him 2 years ago, 2 years, $16 million. I mean, he's going to make more than he's $16 million a year is like on the low end. He's going to make like 20 plus.
Plus, you know how it works with all those guys. They sign the big guys, and then there's still money around for the middle guys, and the middle guys go get a ton of money.
Oh yeah, and they're going to have money to spend because I don't even think they haven't even given like Jalen Williams like a big contract yet. He's a stud. I mean, they're just deep as hell too. They got both Jalen Williams. The guy Joe Wiggins, like they got a bunch of good role guys there too to go with Shea and Chet and Jalen Williams.
It's a good frame. I mean, since they came in, I know they've had obviously some horrific years, but like they were in a finals. They're building a team now. Great fan base. Like they're building. I forgot how electric those games used to be back in the day. So
I love Case and Wallace.
Like, Wallace is solid.
Just as a player, like I was high on him at Kentucky. I just want to. I see this getting floated around, but like it is. They could throw picks at the Suns for KD, and that's the redemption story that KD could kind of have, like coming back home to like OKC and like getting them a championship.
He doesn't need to score as much, but he still can score. Like you can rest him a little bit. KD would be a nice piece.
People really think it's going to happen.
Really, I could definitely see it happening because they have all the assets in the world, and I think they're like one piece away from being like the favor, just like.
And the Suns would just blow it up. Would you load Booker somewhere else?
I think the Suns would do anything to trade Durant right now and get a bunch of those picks back.
Yeah,
if they could. They're saying if we want to get into this too, I don't know.
You worry about Durant at this stage of his career taking a little bit of a backseat on that team. I don't want to say full backseat, but like he wouldn't be the guy they're relying on the most, or is that me being crazy to say that?
No.
I think if he's in a mindset right now where he thinks he can be like the best player on a championship team, I think he's delusional.
Yeah,
with where the NBA is right
he's
now,
got a lot of
how good look at how good the Celtics are.
Right.
Look at how even the Nuggets are down to it. Look how like good they are. How good like the Timberwolves are. Like the Knicks are gonna be a piece away. Like they need if he thinks he's gonna go to some team that's like not there right now and just be the best player and walk into a championship, I think he knows better than that.
It would be weird because I would have the conflict in my head internally. Like if you went to the Oklahoma City Thunder, like Shea is the MVP caliber player on that team, but like KD's shooting splits even this year, like almost like his best in his career or some shit. Like
he shot less this year. I felt like you
shot less, but a higher percentage.
Yeah,
and more efficient from the floor. So like in my head, I'm like, he's still an elite scorer. You're
Yes,
putting him
he's
around all this talent. Like I think it's a better. There's like when you think of like KD on this OKC team, I'm like I could just see it seamlessly fitting. Like it makes sense on paper and like in my head.
Yeah, I mean he's got to come in with the right attitude.
He's on 3 teams. Like and like I think it's what he asked for, so I don't feel bad at all. But like. He just thought that like he could play with a bunch of hoopers. Like OKC has basketball players. Like you can't really be matched up with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker when you all three of you kind of have like similar names, like all on the ice. So like I think he goes to OKC. I like that fit a lot.
And I do too. I think it definitely makes a lot of sense.
It'd be a nice bookend to his career too. You know what I mean? Because we've talked about it. Like whose jersey does he wear into the Hall of Fame?
It's a great question. He's one of the rare that it's like not a
like. What do you identify? Who does Kevin Durant identify with? It's not really the Thunder. He was there for a while, but he won his championships with the Warriors, but that was a flash in the pan. That was almost like a legitimately like an escort. They brought him in for per hour rate, and he did what he was supposed to do, and then he left. You know.
Well, I think the Warriors
Suns,
years,
Brooklyn. I mean, he's been in 5 uniforms.
In my opinion, it's the Thunder. He's still like when I think of Kevin Durant, I think of 35 Thunder.
Yep.
Like in that though.
Jesus Christ, he was with the Sonics too to start his career.
Yeah, for like a year.
I know that's the same franchise to a degree, but he's worn a Sonics jersey, a Thunder jersey, a Nets jersey, a Suns jersey, and who am I missing?
Warriors.
Yeah, because he's the only Finals MVP that hasn't won a championship. Like, do you even count his championships with the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean that was a weird time where everybody was loading up.
It's funny how it showed how
everybody was loading up those super teams.
No, it's just hilarious just to say out loud, like, because really.
Yeah, you threw me off when you said it.
Do you even like if you were talking about like players without rings? It's like KD.
He gets him, but I think
here's the weird thing: what happens if he doesn't get hurt? They win.
Good chance.
They win 3.
Yeah.
Does he stay?
No, I think he's still.
Is he still there and they ship Clay?
No. I think if anything, him leaving showed that he almost like he got like he got his ring so people could shut the fuck up about him not having any rings. And I think it showed like him leaving that situation was like clearly he got his rings and he showed I'd rather be the guy and lose than like it's like that team was always going to be Steph's team whether he won the MVPs or he didn't. When you think of the Warriors, like you think Steph Curry first and foremost, and he could have won 1,000 championships there, and you'd always think Steph first. So I think he would. I think he would just rather say, "I'd rather go to a team and start something new and see if maybe I could pull it off as the guy, as opposed to just being there and being like a guy and just win championships."
Can you guys homer check me really quick? Because I've been thinking about this. Al Horford. What do you think about him? Like when you think of him, what do you think?
Great pro.
Okay, but like
Hawks.
what team?
Yes.
Hawks, okay? Because
they were really good when he was there. So they weren't like elite, but they were very good. And
you know what's crazy, dude? He was in the documentary with Telfair on the bus when they were reading off the McDonald's All-Americans. He was in the same class. You could fact check me, but he's going Al Horford, Dwight Howard, Sebastian Telfair. That's what they're saying on the bus.
So
he's been around forever.
I think Horford, if he wins a championship with the Celtics, is like an all-time Celtic.
All-time Celtic?
Like he's
probably a fan favorite. I don't know about all-time.
Right.
Celtics have too many all-timers.
I agree with that. But like in my head, when we're talking about Celtics, like growing up with, that I'll be like, that was a fucking Celtic. Like that's a championship level basketball player. Like he earned one. Like it wouldn't feel right to win a championship this year without Al Horford. Like he's everything this Celtics era is about. Like the Brad Stevens era is all about Al Horford.
I feel like you guys also just like him a lot more because he was good with you guys, and then he was so bad with Philly when they gave him all the money and came back and he was good. I feel like there's a little part of it that makes it sweeter.
I did say that.
I think it's a little sweeter.
I did say that to Smitty during the stream. I was like part of the reasons like Al Horford is like jokingly, but like if you go through like year by year, like Al Horford has always been great for the Celtics. Like he from 16, like he's my favorite player on the Celtics. Like right now, like if we're going like all time, like. I like him better than like Tatum's like my fourth player. Like I like the nitty gritty guys. I love Horford, but just a thought that I had. I think a lot of Celtics fans love him too.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, when you have a championship team, like you'll love half the roster. Because I remember I was brought up yesterday when me and Meek started talking about like Giants. He was like, "Who's your favorite Giants?" Like I'm basically just like listing like the guys that won Super Bowls on
Right.
this run. Like I'm just listing like Justin Tuck and like fucking like Snee and like
Manningham.
like yeah, obviously like Cruz and like Knicks. Like if anyone that wins the ring with your team, you're always just gonna be fond of them.
Yeah.
But you're not totally wrong. Obviously, he was good. He was like very good before.
He was part of like
the first stint. He was very good as well. Obviously.
He was just part of like the revival era. Like he got us back to like I know it's like championship basketball because we didn't win it, but like contending and being fun. Like I remember like that 16 like 17 year was when like the Sixers had like the confetti down. Like that was like kind of like the mark of it, and he's just been there basically for that, except for like 1 or 2 years. So in my head, it's probably like a fan favorite sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think if he caps off this championship, he'll go down in like lore.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Celtics have been good more years than they haven't, but it's been a long time.
Well,
They were bad.
They've been on
Yeah.
They've been on the stretch where they've just been like elite for a while, but they just haven't won a championship.
Right. But in the
Feels like
90s, they were like a playoff team, but they weren't like
With Antoine?
that was the 2000s.
Okay, yeah.
I remember the Paul Pierce against the Nets almost every year in the playoffs. It felt like they probably didn't play every year, but I remember Paul Pierce being in important playoff series.
Like early 2000s.
Yeah, and then those obviously that 08 run, they were in the series. I felt like right before that, or right after. Obviously, right after that, the finals in 09. Then the downtick to the. But they've been around, but they haven't been elite. They've been elite in the recent years.
Yeah.
They were elite for that period there, but over the course of years, you still have the 90s, you have the early 2000s, where it's kind of like nice team, not massive. You know what I mean? Not massively at the top of the game. So, all right, what do you think about tonight? You got the standalone 8 o'clock. They're all standalone, but only game of the night because Denver and Minnesota are taking a fucking week off in between, which is a joke.
That is crazy.
Knicks minus 4.5.
It's crazy to think the teams last night are going to play 2 games before they play another game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like the Thunder are going to have played 2 games
It's problematic.
in a stretch that they didn't play any.
Problematic. If I just bet these straight, I've been cooking up the same game parlays. If I just put them straight, I'm hitting it like a 75% clip of just straight. But I like it. I like it all cooked up together. Knicks money line, Hart over 1.5 threes, OG over 7.5 rebounds. You turn me on to the OG rebounds. They've now juiced it a little bit.
What's it, 7.5 now?
7.5.
They were making it 5.5. It was crazy.
Hartenstein, I got on his point. Like my advice is, if you're gonna cook these up, and you're in on guys, like get on the ones early in the run. You know, like grab them twice before that. Then the number jumps up. Hartenstein now is at 11.5 points. He used to be at 8.5 when I was putting him in parlays.
Well, also it's Mitch is out.
Agreed. Yeah,
that's what I was going to
gonna play. Yeah,
we are. I mean, our bench is going to be.
It's bad.
I mean, what are we going to go? I mean, now Precious like has to play like somewhat significant minutes. Hartenstein's going to play a lot.
Yeah,
and I think even for this series, he was better off anyway. Like even in game 1, like obviously like Mitch got hurt so a little bit. I think Hartenstein was going to play a lot regardless, and played a lot like in the first half.
But you can't take, or Hart doesn't want to come out. So like, Devo and do you ride the hot hand, or do you truly try to split them with Deuce and Devo?
Well, no, I think Deuce had a bad first game. Like I do think he's gonna I think it's gonna be a Devo series, but I think like Deuce is gonna.
I mean, you got to spell Devo a little bit, right?
I'm saying Deuce is gonna play more. Like I think like he's gonna get significant minutes tonight. And when I say significant, I'm saying I think he gets at least like 15.
But like Brunson ain't coming out. Hart's not coming out.
Like Deuce is gonna spell.
Hartenstein's gonna play a long period of time because you got nobody behind him.
I love Hartenstein rebounds. It's over 9.5. I took it already.
That's it.
Yeah, not over 9.5. Double doubles plus like 130.
Okay.
So yeah, I like double all that as well. I took the one I like a little. Just it's not like a crazy like a parlay, but if you parlayed it was Knicks. It was like Knicks money line, and then like Brunson's total is 37.5.
Crazy.
But if you just take them to score like 30 and Knicks money line, it's like a pick 'em basically, or minus like 120.
Oh really?
And I just think like how the Knicks, how do they win if he doesn't score 30 plus? How does it happen?
Yeah, you're right.
If they win and he scores under 30, I mean Devo must have went for 30 plus.
Right.
Deuce must have had 20. Like a big outlier.
We just don't have enough guys to.
That's what I'm saying.
You could say like, all right, then. So let's say 9 guys went into double digits. We don't have 9 guys to score.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't have. I actually like that a lot.
We won't even play 9 players. Like 9 players will not check in the game. For the
but
Knicks.
you get what I'm saying. Like the Knicks could have a really nice night, and Brunson's points go down, and everyone else's go up because it's rising the team.
But I'm saying
You don't have those. I agree with you.
And just Brunson, his usage rate is just like the amount he just has the ball in his hands on offense is insane. So I just think like a money line and Brunson to score 30. But even like
I gotta find that.
He scored 40. It's 4 games in a row. So I mean I like all like Brunson stuff, like Brunson points. Like listen, over 37.5 is crazy, but I mean he just keeps hitting it. So it was 36.5 last game he hit. But no, I do like the Knicks tonight. Obviously, people are going to say like, oh, like obviously you like the Knicks. Like, what are you going to like the Pacers? But I really think even when you look at the first game, like they didn't rebound well. Like, they didn't shoot, like, particularly well. They didn't play defense well, and they still won.
Right.
Like, I think you're going to see the Knicks play a, like, sharper game, like, better defense, and I think they win. Like, I'm laying the 4.5 as well, just straight. I think the Knicks get it done. I think they go back.
I worry about us being in so many wars and being gassed out just a little bit, with the Pacers being a little bit deep.
I'm not with
this
the
team
Pacers.
Shows up, man.
Like, this is just what this Knicks team does.
Yeah.
Like, they're people when the wheels going to fall off. Like, listen, I'm not saying they're going to win the finals. I'm not even saying they're going to beat the Celtics, but I just don't think they're going to lose this game due to like being tired. Like, I don't think that's going to be the reason they lose. If they lost, it'd be because they were also in the first game too. I didn't mention this. They were super sloppy with turnovers, like uncharacteristically sloppy with turnovers.
They had a lot of easy buckets for the Pacers.
That's what I'm saying. Bad defense, sloppy in offense, and still won the game. Like, I just think they're going to play better defense. They're going to take better care of the ball.
Yeah, but you do have guys who are, I don't want to say tired, but like they are being worked.
But they've done
like
it.
You're
They've
playing
done
on
it
both
like
ends,
I know we've talked about this. They've done like 2 of the clip. They've done it like in the regular season, but they were doing it all year for the most part. Like Josh Hart, like he hasn't came out of a second half all playoffs.
Yeah,
he's
it catch up. It could catch up to you though.
I mean, but like what these guys like they're not like it would be one thing if our team was like everyone was like in their 30s and all
Old.
this. Like, they're all young guys. Like we're playing all young guys.
Yeah.
Like they're in their like mid to like late 20s. Like they're in their prime. Like I'm not worried about them. Like the worry we'd have more is like a knock on wood is like another injury like kills us.
Yes.
Like Mitch is like we can't.
Oh, we're out of.
We cannot have like we're already like on like.
What's the earliest Randall can come back?
Next year.
He's completely out.
You thought he was going to play this playoffs?
I thought there was a possibility.
No.
Thought there was a possibility that they could have.
No, Randall's he's not playing.
All right.
I would trust me. I wish he's out.
I thought they were going to push for potentially like.
They were. There was a point in the season where they were trying to like they were thought like maybe he could try to like because he at first he was trying to not have surgery to like maybe return.
That's okay. Then that's where I.
No, but they announced that before the playoffs even started. Like,
so that's where I got confused on. And he played in Michael Jordan's single game points record, 63. That's an awesome bet.
It's a great bet.
It's a great bet.
I mean, shit, if someone was going to do it,
Brunson.
It might have to be Brunson.
He's the closest.
If someone was
like,
going to do it.
That's
like,
an
it's got to
awesome
be like
bet.
Brunson or like Obi Toppin, I think everyone's really saying in the chat.
That's
yeah,
an
for
awesome
sure.
No, that's what.
If Obi gives us 64, Jesus
that'd be awesome.
Christ.
That confused me. The point in this when they were like, "There's a possibility he's avoiding it. He could potentially come back."
That's why
Mixed
they
up with
announced
the
before the
timelines.
playoffs started. He was.
You get mixed up with the timelines. Hockey last night. I was
unreal, man.
In cruise control with the Stars up 3-0. The Avalanche are just beasts.
Dude, they scored.
I turn it back on. It's like it's because I had the NBA on. I didn't go double. I was flipping. I was like, you go. It's 3-3. Like what the fuck just happened? They crawl their way back and then they get ripped out in overtime like that.
Crazy. And I mean, really, even that game was that was like the highlight of the night. That was insane. But even just, I mean, the Rangers, like the Rangers got totally outplayed.
Yes.
Like they got totally outplayed and then ended up winning in double overtime and on power play, which they've been. See, this is Puck. I've been doing my research now. We're locked in. Got the Rangers' future.
Same.
Rangers 6-0 in the playoffs. They were the
dog in the series. They're supposed to
the
take
best
both.
power. They were the best power play team all year. Like they were most efficient on power plays, and that's how they beat them. I scored at least. I know they scored the game tying goal. I believe was a power play, and the game winner was a power play.
I think of all the sports, where can you blow a 3-1 lead? Hockey is the most. Like I would put my money on hockey being like 3-1, no questions. Because you just saw the Bruins almost do it twice. They would have been the first team ever to blow 3-1 leads. So I do think hockey is more than baseball and basketball, where you can blow a 3-1 lead.
Oh, in the series, you're saying?
In a series.
Yeah.
In a series.
I would say that.
But now the Rangers just have to split in Carolina. All you got to do is really split. They took care of business. You just got to split. You're in a home run of a spot.
A massive win for sure.
Home run of a spot.
Nothing better than being a hockey fan in May. Just put on my Bruins cap last night.
Yep, that's just throwing the Rangers future hat.
Yeah.
It is. I say
8-1 hat.
I like, especially because I mean, we've been talking about it, I feel like, for like the way that it's lining up with like Knicks, Celtics, and
Rangers.
Bruins. Just war in
Get
the
ready to learn
95.
streams, buddy.
Yeah, just war in the
Yeah,
Northeast.
it's just gonna. They're not gonna overlap because the way it'll shake out too is the hockey games will start in Boston, right?
Yeah.
And the basketball games will be in New York.
No, I think it'll start.
Rangers had the best record in the league.
So the
Right,
Rangers.
the hockey games. Sorry,
Hockey in New York.
Hockey would be home, and they would be Boston.
Where it would get hairy is if Boston had both home court ice advantages.
Right.
That's where it gets hairy.
Yeah.
It is a good spin zone for everyone out there. Like if the Knicks lose, it's just like, well, like we beat you guys in hockey.
Yeah.
We're a hockey town, anyways.
Exactly.
Or vice versa.
But
like,
no, that's
just gotta win one.
That would be something. Both teams in the Eastern Conference Finals in terms of both cities.
Streams for a week or two straight.
Yeah, 2 weeks straight of just like. Also, but it's funny though too because it's even though it's the same cities, it's like very like different crews.
Yeah. Well, it's really, I mean, in terms of like people here, like Pat's a Celtics fan, but it'd really just be, they'd have to just fly Dave in. I guess if we were doing it here.
It's really for the hockey, it'd be more like fights in like Glenny.
Yeah.
Like
Grinnelli,
obviously,
Marina.
yeah, like Grinnell, Marina, obviously.
RA.
Yeah, RA too, of course. Like who else? I'm trying to think of our Rangers.
Question is, would they put them both on the same night?
Because
that could happen.
That would be electric.
You could have the Rangers home, and you could have the Knicks in Boston. You could have that, dude. You could have that. We're getting ahead of ourselves with the Knicks, but
It's true.
I don't think you are. Because you keep talking your shit. Come on.
No.
Gotta be confident.
I mean, I feel good. Like I trust. If we lost to the Pacers, it'd be the worst
Yeah.
thing.
Obi Toppin over 9.5 points.
Again,
I'm riding it.
Riding the
I
Obi
think he's
train.
playing great ball.
He's playing well for sure.
Like even in the last series, like defensively, I think he's playing well. Like I think 9.5. Like he'll get some. Like he gets some burn. He gets enough burns. Like what? It's like 2 dunks, 2 threes, and he's like basically there.
What's the line in him going between the legs again?
Dude, I'm not kidding. I didn't want to say it today, but it was on my head. I have not stopped thinking about it. I watched it just now when you guys were talking. It was one of the most insane things I've ever seen.
It was. I was gonna say ballsy, but it's one of those.
you should try to get a breakaway
You
should try to get a breakaway every game and do something ridiculous each time.
Yeah, somebody goes
Like
better than
completely
all the dunks of the dunk
just go
contest this
completely
year.
backwards. Yeah, exactly. Like
That should be part of the dunk contest. It's like, can you do like have people chasing you to like chase down the block? Like that's how insane it was. But I think it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to this series like the most. Like you guys really got to stop McConnell tonight.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's kind of he's just been a problem for us even in the regular season. Like I'm almost at the point when McConnell gets the Knicks where it's like McConnell's gonna get his. Like I'm talking about him like he's like Durant or something. Oh, he's gonna score. Like we just gotta make sure. Like I'm really I'm more worried about him than Halliburton.
I don't think that's outrageous.
Halliburton he took 6 shots, and I'm not saying I'm sure he'll shoot more this game, but I really just think his game matched with the style of defense we play is not gonna correlate to him scoring a ton.
I don't follow Greg Doyle of the Indy Star too much, but I know that I know that people in Indy Twitter are like, I don't know if he's making excuses or how injured he actually is, but I think his hamstring is pretty.
It's
fucked up.
his back too. Like watch every time he's in the sideline where he has like back spasm, he immediately throws on the heating pad on the back.
And I see
time.
Meek being like, "Oh, my excuse is like I pulled my hamstring in January." Like Meek's just being a troll, and I don't know how much it's an excuse versus it's actually affecting him, but they got to get they're not going anywhere without him.
It's one of those. I mean, yeah, I think he is definitely not like 100%, but I think it's a lot of people aren't 100%. I mean, he had some massive games in the last series.
Right, I agree.
So it's very easy to say, like, he's playing great, and then the second he's bad, you're like, oh, but his hamstring.
When they win, warrior.
Yep.
When they lose,
he's hurt, bro.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm in on. I just fired in Hartenstein's rebounds.
Let's go over 9.
How much?
Minus 142.
What's hard?
Oh, I got minus 120.
9.5.
All right, so I got a good
Jumped up.
line.
It's
at least.
fine.
Juice. Go give me a double Harden.
I think he goes and gets it.
Double winner.
Let's go picks now for tonight. So I'll give you what I got. I got the Phillies in the early win It's -170, but I think they've been hitting the ball. I like the Phillies in that early win promo. At any point, you get the 2-run lead. Yesterday, Clemmer's been really good with that. I'm just kind of riding him. I'm like, what do you want? And then I just take it. Yesterday, he took the Rangers. You see what they did?
What?
10 runs in the second inning.
Oh, yeah.
Joke. The hit parade is +179. We've been getting 2 out of 3 every night. It's Albies, Soto, and McMahon. Mookie Betts didn't get a hit last night, did he?
No.
Yeah, we went. I know, and they scored a lot of runs, too. We went 2 out of 3.
They scored 8.
Knicks money line, Hart over 1.5 threes, OG over 7.5 rebounds is +550, and I'm on Hartenstein's rebounds over the 9.5. Ev, what do you got?
Like you said, I'm on Knicks -4.5. I'm on that Knicks money line parlayed with Brunson to score 30 or more. It's basically Knicks money line over 29.5. You could call it.
Where'd you find that in the same
in DraftKings? In DraftKings, you do it where you just go like money line, and then you go to like alternate points.
Okay.
Because obviously his overs higher than 30, obviously. So you go to alternate points and just like 30 plus.
Okay.
So basically the equivalent of 29.5 for the people out there on DraftKings. So Knicks -4.5. I got that. The Brunson over 29 points, parlay with Knicks money line. I got Hartenstein over 9.5 points, and a double +130. Then in baseball, I have we got some early day action. I fired in. I got the over in the Mets game, over 7.5 in Mets Cardinals. I got over. I believe I have 8.5 in Pirates Angels, and I have where is it? Oh, I have the Brewers as well. Brewers money line +110. Need some day action. Oh yeah, and over 9 in Diamondbacks Reds. Over 9 there as well.
Gallen's back, by the way. He looked great last night.
Yeah, Gallen's a stud, man.
All right, I'm in on the 30 and the Knicks money line.
Let's go.
Because that's a contingent bet, like you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I just don't.
I actually hit that one pretty heavy.
I truly just don't see how they like. How do they win with him scoring 30? Like I think they're kind of like mutually.
Yeah.
I feel like they're somewhat mutually exclusive.
Makes the most sense.
It would just and listen, if the Knicks win and he don't get 30, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'll take the gambling loss for a Knicks win if I have to.
Let's close out with this. I haven't fully been like into the debate. I guess it is a healthy debate. I haven't fully been into it. Expand to me on this NBA, NFL of what exactly is going on. They're saying certain guys can't cross over. Who would be the best to cross over? Help me out with. So Will's obviously involved. I haven't. He
jumped in on it. So how it all started was Austin Rivers went on McAfee's show and basically said there's like 30. I think his quote, I believe, was there's like 30 guys in the NBA right now that could go just like play, or that could just go like play in the NFL like no problem. But there'd be like nobody from the NFL that could go play in the NBA.
I could take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. I cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
So it's listen. I think I like these debates because they're fun, but I don't because they're fun like hypotheticals and stuff, just like talk out players and stuff like that. But I don't like them because I think sometimes it's just like basically both sides are just trying to like belittle the other side. It's like their credentials and their credibility as athletes, this and that. There's such different sports in the sense that in the NBA, there's only 5. Obviously, basketball is period. There's only 5 players on the court, so one player can definitely have like a much bigger impact like on the game than as opposed to like one player. And like for example, obviously in the NFL, you could run a play to the right, have a receiver like a sweep to the right, the receiver lined up out left. He's just standing there doing like I understand that kind of part of it. But it's funny where they like people like obviously they make the Jimmy Graham and Antonio Gates argument where like, oh, we had guys who were like really good college basketball players, didn't play much football, come over and have like a lot of success. But we all and people are being like, oh, like when have we ever seen it the other way? I mean, we saw Charlie Ward do it.
Yeah.
We saw a Heisman Trophy quarterback go play like 10 plus years in the NBA, be like a very good NBA player. So we've seen both sides. So
Pat Spencer lacrosse.
And that's the argument I was going to make almost on football's behalf. Whereas, like, we literally watched a lacrosse player who's a phenomenal athlete. I'm not trying to belittle Pat Spencer. But we saw a phenomenal athlete that basically took like 4 or 5 years off basketball, didn't play basketball since high school, played just college lacrosse, then just start playing basketball again and literally make an NBA roster and score points in an NBA game. So based on that, I think there has to be, like, listen, I don't know exactly who the best basketball players are in the NFL, but there has to be a few that if you gave them like a year or two to just like go all in on basketball, that I'm not saying they could be a star player.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that they could at least like hang on the court. Like there's got to be a few that could do that. And I would say I do agree that in the NBA,
I think there's
definitely a few guys that I think the physicality would be so different. And I agree. Like Will kind of speaking to talk, like those guys couldn't get through NFL training camp. And I that part I agree, because I think in the NBA, in terms of the physicality, they're coddled because it's just not as physical of a sport. So if they had to go out there in August in sweating their balls off, doing sprints, running all the conditioning, all just the hitting, like the physical, just the hitting.
Current NBA players who can play in the NFL. Yeah, I think a lot of these
JP
guys.
Hovey, the
Wait,
producer.
I would. I think there's more guys who can play DB.
Jalen Suggs.
I felt like there were more guys who could play DB.
No, so I think it'd be easier to play like a receiver. Tight end would be like the most like seamless transition, because I think just in terms of like, because even guys that I think would be a great like safety and stuff, like I've always said, like I think Russ
would be great.
Like,
that's the first name
like
that comes
safety.
to mind.
But I think there's so much more like football nuance you like need to know. Not saying there isn't at like wide receiver, but wide receiver, if you have an elite talent, I think if he just told him like basically where to line up, and he just did the training and like had good hands and said like run this route. Like obviously you'd have to put a lot of time into route running and things like that. But I do think there's like a few guys that could like could transition and give them like a year or two, and they could like at least contribute to an NFL team. I think that's possible.
I mean, you just look at the Hops,
sense, though, Ev,
guys jumping up.
In the same sense, I gotta do lacrosse some justice, and the NBA. On the flip side of things, there has been same situation as Pat Spencer. There's this guy Jared Bernhardt who won the Heisman in lacrosse. The next year he played D2 football at Ferris State, then made the Falcons roster for the 53-man roster. Then you saw the same exact situation with Chris Hogan. So it's happened more times in the NFL than the NBA.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think there's more like I said, just based on the style of like this, just the style of game football is and the amount of players. There's more room like on a roster and more rooms to just like, hey, like carve out like a small role here, a small role there. In the NBA, you can't. It's just different because there's less players.
Yeah, it's harder.
It's hard to just carve out like, oh, you can come in here and like catch a jump ball. You can come in here and like do this or do that. Where in the NBA, you're just in the fucking game. It's fast flowing. It's less like it's less tactical.
Skillful too, more skillful than
yeah, more skillful, less like tactical.
Jalen Suggs was a hell of a quarterback in high school.
I think really that I could have played D1.
Yeah, it's easy to say quarterback, but like realistically, like if he would have to play like they'd be talking about him like he's a running back.
No, the second I saw a quarterback, I was like, because just like you'd be so far behind in terms of like just your game, just like processing and all that.
Cade was a quarterback in high school too.
Yeah, like I think there's guys like the
sense.
D linemen all throw me off. I think most of them like transition would be like playing receiver.
I think a lot of guys. I think guys could step in and play DB.
DJ Burns.
DB is possible. DB is possible.
I mean, think about it. The skill set translates in front of it. Hey, stay in front of this guy. That's just locking a guy up on defense.
Just the size and length.
Yeah.
Like DB is possible.
Quick hands. You can hit a guy.
I think
on
it would
line.
have to be. It would be wide receiver, tight end. Like DB would be the spots where I think most it would be like the easiest to transfer. Because even like people talk about like Julius Peppers, but he was playing both. Like and he was always more of a football player. Like on the other end, like they're like he played on the Final Four team at UNC, but he also was obviously an incredible defensive end.
College basketball talk a little bit, just like the players that I'm thinking of. Do you think players like Luka Garza or Adama Sanogo could play like tackle in the NFL?
Tackle would be tough.
Or do you think they have good enough footwork? I guess is my question. I was just because I'm like at the center position. You obviously like Luka Garza's footwork in the post is like phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like would that translate well? Like obviously everyone talked about DJ Burns.
I think Burns would be he's a better like physical size.
Right.
Like Luka Garza, he'd have to put on so much weight. I don't know if he has the frame.
Right, but I guess I was thinking like that. Like
Burns has more of like the frame, and I'm not even talking about like just him being like a little like chunkier. I'm talking about just like his bigger shoulders.
I agree.
Like big hands, like big long arms. Like those things are massive for a tackle.
I do think that's a good point, though. I do think post guys are used to using guys' body weight against them, if it makes sense. You know what I mean? You feel the weight. That's when you do the drop step. Like. Makes sense. I think they could play offensive tackle.
Somebody said Cade Cunningham also is a great quarterback name. Yeah, that's
awesome
facts.
quarterback
that's
name.
Facts. You could just that guy's an all-pro.
That's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Do you think like I sometimes just think about like in the same argument, like it is insane that like where life takes you, for example, like there could be an NBA guy that just doesn't even know that he could be the best slot receiver in the NFL.
Well, that's what we were saying. Like I think
vice versa.
They asked Austin Rivers. Like I think they kind of countered Austin Rivers. Were like, hey, like. if you gave he was Deion Sanders' example. He was like, if you think Deion didn't just like dedicate his life to basketball since he was 5 years old, he would have been in the NBA.
Right.
And Roger was like, oh no, like he's just elite. He would have been 100%.
Yeah, it's like if Deion's cousin Junebug.
Because I've always said, if
he didn't like crack, he'd be like in the NBA.
Yeah.
Because I just think that comes a level where there's like just like truly like elite athletes, and I think those guys. There's certain sports like, for example, like a LeBron, like. Basketball was definitely like the sport he could maximize his potential.
Yeah.
But if obviously we knew he was all state whatever in football, but if he had just dedicated life to football, I think he would have been like an incredible football player. And I think there's a lot of guys.
I think he'd be an unbelievable football player.
I think there's even guys like that, like NBA guys that never played football that like in their life never played it down. But if they had just from the time they were like 8 years old dedicated their life to football, they would have made the NFL. Would they maybe have been as good as they were in basketball? Probably not. But they would have been like D1 players, like had a chance to make the NFL, maybe made the NFL, or maybe made the NBA, vice versa. Like I think rings true for both sides. I think there's just more opportunity for the NBA to make an NFL team, just because of the way the game is, just more players.
I think that's a sound argument, and I think the one like there's the closing thing is like you just see it more, obviously because of the roster spots, but like. You'll see Mo Alley Cox, like, and someone just looks at him and he's like VCU, and he's like, all right, we could throw him on a free agent roster. Like Marcus Santos Silva, who played at VCU, then Texas Tech, he got like a tryout for some team. Mm-hmm. Like football, there's just more. Like I even know like another lacrosse player that like played at Virginia, and he got a look by the Patriots last year before he got injured. So like, there's just like you can give anyone in the NFL like really a try if they're athletic.
53-man roster, like there's just like I said, and just more spots, just bodies. Like more bodies, they're more willing to just like take a chance on a guy. Like, hey, like let's see.
That's why those guys can.
You've seen like rugby guys. Like you've seen a couple rugby guys have done it.
Yeah.
Isn't the best rugby player like on the Chiefs now?
I don't know.
I think they signed. I mean, even what's his name, the tackle Mulata from the Eagles. Like I'm pretty sure he was like a rugby guy. That now he's a legit like Pro Bowl like tackle, left tackle.
Yeah.
He just signed like $100 million contract.
Louis Rees-Zamet.
Oh, I heard that. I actually
Chiefs
saw him
running back.
Yep, I saw him on Instagram actually today. I saw like somebody posted a clip.
Yeah,
of him.
that's pretty sick.
Well,
I like seeing that.
Wasn't like Nate Ebner was a rugby
He's
guy,
a rugby
right?
player. Yeah, he's big on sevens.
Former Patriots and former Giant.
He caught a ricochet shot from Randy Moss during the Brady roast.
Yeah, he did.
Nate Ebner has 3 rings. Hell yeah, Randy. That was so funny, by the way. Just like I know we're closing up, but like when someone for Drew Bledsoe was like, even your black receivers are white. Like you got a guy named Randy who who owns a NASCAR team. Like that was pretty funny.
A guy from a guy from West Virginia.
West Virginia, that was hilarious.
That was good.
It is hilarious too. Like just going off that, like Randy Moss, how like it's Randy Moss the wide receiver and Randy Moss the horse racing expert. Like I always found that like just kind of hilarious.
There was one other thing too with the hockey, real quick. The fact that when they flipped the games, that's just inexcusable.
Yeah.
You see when they flipped the game?
No, I didn't.
Inside of a minute in the Rangers game, it just all of a sudden the feed cuts to the Dallas game.
What?
But it's Dallas pregame. It's too fucking. They're like, all right, we're here in Dallas, and it's Evan McDowell and Rico Bosco. You're like, what? There was a minute left in the either the third period or the overtime. I think third period. It was crazy. Nate wrote a blog about it. It was nuts. But, so we got the action today. You got day games and baseball. We'll be streaming tonight. Pretty sure Frank will be back in the building tonight, which is always an X factor. And we'll get going. Pick Central back tomorrow.